Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom. The why, what, and how. We're on section 3 of my book, The How, and we're getting into some really big projects this time. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, Japanese, and English to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Help me with these. I have big ideas and I need to think through a lot of things. I need to bounce ideas off of people, and I need to hear your ideas too. So you can reach me at the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, Duolingo Educators Network, Roxem, or at studio-nemo.com. We're on chapter 27 of my book, and I'm going to talk about project-based learning. So project-based learning is not a game per se, but everything we do when we're learning to play a game is all the same, and there's lots of mini games leading up to the big project. All of the 21st century skills are the same. The prep work is the same. The grading is the same. We start with the end result and we work back. Universal design learning. So projects done right just feel like a game. So here's the basic philosophy. How do we learn to ride a bicycle? By reading about riding a bicycle? By watching somebody ride a bicycle? By listening to someone ride a bicycle? No, we got to get on and ride the bicycle. Our students need to apply the skills they're learning. So I've collected some of my favorite ideas, which should helpfully help you brainstorm some of your own projects. And please tell me in the comments what projects you like to do, because I need to learn from you too. In our previous episode, we talked about games I will not play. All right, so projects. So first of all, let me give you the big picture. All right, the big picture is that none of these projects need to be very long. Granted, when I do a project, it usually takes up the entire class period or most of the entire class period. But what I mean is it's not a difficult project in the end, okay? It's not me having to sit down and grade 130 tests. Oh my gosh, when I first started teaching, I had to give the big test at the end of the year, and the test was 50 questions, and I'd have to sit down and grade all those 50 questions, and that took forever. And no, I don't like doing that. I'd rather give a project and walk around while they're doing the project and be able to tell if they know the language or not. The assessments are really tiny. They're basically, I'm listening for 5 sentences or less. Okay, I can tell if a student has mastered the skill in well under 10 sentences. Why should I torture myself with tests that run 50 questions, 70 questions, that takes students an hour to do and it takes me 5 hours to grade? I want to get to the fun part of teaching, which is actually watching my students use the language. Okay, that's what I like. So this is what you really absolutely need from a summative assessment. Students need to prove that they can answer and complete sentences, right? That's pretty much it, okay? So you can make a hand signal, a sign that you point to, or you can clear your throat and say in the target language, complete sentences, please, and let them try again, okay? You got to decide if you're going to take down your scaffolding posters. I know you got scaffolding all over the room. Decide if you're going to take it down or you're going to leave it up. Decide if the students get a cheat sheet or a note card. So for me, it depends on what we're doing. Depends on the time of the year. If it's early in the year, I'm going to have more scaffolding. It depends on class dynamics. Gosh, I've got classes this year that need a lot of scaffolding. I don't know why. It's just the way it happened. Okay, make sure students know what to expect and have a lot of chances to practice. I think this is a really big thing. When I first started trying to do projects, it would be like, okay, here's a bunch of clothing sentences. We're going to have our Paris Fashion Week show tomorrow. And then boom, the students were dropped into it. And of course, they didn't do as well as I'd wanted. And I was frustrated and I couldn't figure out why. It's because I didn't give them a chance to practice in the environment. Okay, so, like I told you when we're playing Uno, which isn't really a project, but they have a lot of chances to practice playing Uno before I actually pull out the grade book, right? Do some dry runs, okay? If you're going to do food, you don't actually have the food out, but you have plastic food out, make sure the students can visualize what's going to happen and what they need to do, because you want them to be successful. This is not a multiple choice fill in the blank thing, okay? This is not that kind of test. Thank goodness, because there's a place for this stuff. There's a place for closed activities. There's a place for multiple choice. This is not it. These are projects, okay? So you don't have to worry about your students cheating. Okay? They're not going to be able to cheat. If they've written down sentences beforehand, that's like, they're making their own scaffolding. Okay, good. They had to physically write them down. All right. That's good. That's extra work that the students are going through. So you don't have to worry about them cheating. All right. In a project, it's not going to happen. They're in the thick of it. They don't have time. They don't have their computers out, so they're not going to go to Google Translate. Even when we do Minecraft, they're not going to Google Translate. They're immersed in Minecraft. Okay, it's fine. Just relax about the cheating. Okay, and then I think the other big thing is that if the student doesn't do well, I always let them redo it. Okay, which is really easy when I'm teaching them to play Uno. Okay, for the first time ever this year, for the very first time ever, I had 2 students fail the Uno test. That has never happened to me in the whole history of any time I've been teaching, that they'd fail an Uno test. So I'm like, okay, if you guys want to raise your grade, come in after school, redo it. Okay, which was easy, and they realized, okay, we messed up, we were goofing around too much, and we should have really been thinking about it. So they came in, both of them, and they took the Uno test again, and they raised their grade, and I was happy, and they were happy. They just needed a little more practice, so that was fine. Sometimes it's harder. I've never had anyone fail the making crepes test, but I have had people be absent, and they really wanted to do it. And, I would secretly mark them no count because I wasn't going to redo it. But, I'd break out the plastic food or the Play-Doh and we redid it, because I didn't have the materials anymore. But, they wanted to do it. So who am I to say no? All right. So first thing I'm going to tell you is invite your colleagues. Okay. Don't they want to eat delicious crepes or tortillas hot off of the skillet? Don't they want to see the artwork that your students are producing? Don't they want to pretend to walk around in a museum? Don't they want to cheer for your racers in the Tour de France? This is a great way for your colleagues to see what goes on in your class, because I don't know about you, but I often feel like I'm in a bubble and like nobody knows what I'm doing, which sometimes is a really good thing. It's like, haha, nobody knows what I'm doing. I can do all sorts of crazy stuff. But, sometimes it's like, I would like them to know that I exist out here and I'm doing stuff. And, I would like to collaborate with them on big things. So it's good that they know how I work and stuff. So invite your colleagues, and also invite the parents and guardians. Now, I teach high school, and the parents don't get much of an opportunity to come in and do stuff. They don't get much of an opportunity to chaperone things because we don't go on all that many field trips nowadays. We don't have, like, I need parent helpers in class. So I invite parents to come in during our big projects. They should see what's going on in the class. And often I have logistical, I don't want to say nightmares, but, a little bit of difficulty in the classroom because I've got a lot of extension cords with hot pads, and I don't want the students to trip and burn themselves. Or, if the students, one time they dropped an egg on my carpet, and it's just nice to have other breathing adults in the room just in case something happens, right? So invite parents and guardians, invite your colleagues. Long, long, long before the unit begins, during your prep time, that's when you're starting to brainstorm this, okay? Now, when was it my 3rd year teaching, I had this big idea, and I went to one of my colleagues to bounce the idea off of him. And I said, okay, I've got this big idea, but it might be too much for me. And he goes, just do it. I'm like, oh, wait, let me tell the idea. He's like, no, just do it. And he wouldn't even listen to my idea. But that was great advice because I was too afraid to take the big jump. So, I'm going to be over 10 minutes. I'm sorry about this. I'm going to keep going. Okay. But all the work happens beforehand. There is no work on the big day because you've done all the work beforehand. Okay. So long before the unit begins, make a list of everything your students will need to be successful. And I don't mean they're going to need to be able to make crepes. I mean, what sentences are they going to need to know? Okay. There's going to be a lot that they have to have memorized. It's a language. They got to have it memorized. What do they absolutely need to be able to say? Okay. What are the specific words that they need to be successful? What specific grammar do they need to be successful? Okay. You've got a project in mind. This part of the brainstorming is not like, oh gosh, where do I buy the eggs? How do I get the giant 50-pound bag of flour through the front door? That's not that. Okay. This is, what do your students need to be successful? This should only take you about 10 minutes to come up with a list of, these are the words they need. This is the grammar that they need. Bang, you're done with that part. Okay. I think I'm going to pause here and I will come back to the rest. This will be part 1B of this. So join me on the next one because I'm trying really hard to keep my videos under 10 minutes. All right, see you then.